Hello, welcome everyone to week 5 of problem solving session for NPTEL course Problem Solving Through Programming in C. And today, as usual, as we do in every session, that first we go over some quiz questions which are multiple choice question answers, and I'll give you time to read the question, and then you can write your answers in the chat box. After that, we will have some discussion on them. And finally, after the quiz questions, I have 4 programming questions also. In those also, I think we will mostly discuss the approaches, and you can suggest me code snippets that for those programming problems. So feel free to stop me anywhere if you have any doubts. And now I'll be using these slides. So coming to the first problem. So if you think that the way that I'm teaching is not good enough, if you have any suggestions, then I really welcome those. And you can suggest anything. If you find that this is not the right way, and if you don't find it, let's say you're not understanding anything, or you find it maybe, let's say, boring, you can tell me if you have any suggestions. So for the problem one is that you're given this code snippet, which is, and you have to tell that what will be the output of this program. Now just go through the program and tell me if you understand the program, if you understand the syntax that is written over here. There is a for loop. Do you understand for loops, printfs, and all of that? So I'm not giving you here any options. So what will be the output of this program? One of you said 0. Okay. Others? 0. Okay, can one of you explain why is it 0? By 0 you mean printf will print 0, right? Can one of you unmute yourself and tell that why is it 0? Malam? I hope that I pronounced your name correctly. Would you like to try? Anybody else? Just do some guessing. Just okay, if you do not know the correct answer, then at least you can just unmute yourself and tell me that what will happen. What will happen when on the first statement, which is int n? So can any one of you just unmute yourself and tell what will happen on int n?
I think nothing will print
Okay. Okay, can you explain why?
because the condition 10 less than 10 will become false in the for loop.
Right. Yeah, that's correct. So can you go step by step? What does int n do?
We declared n of type integer.
Yeah, we declared a variable named n of type integer, right?
Then initialized with that variable for with the 10.
Right. Here we have assigned a value to n, which is 10.
Then checking the condition, that is n less than, means 10 is less than 10, which is false.
Right. That's correct. So then we check the condition, and if the condition is false, we do not go inside the for loop.
The for loop, yeah.
And then so basically it will not print anything. So I'll just write it also. So what happens is, so when we have a for loop, like in this case, sorry, it's n plus plus. So I'll just tell here what is usually the flow of statements. How do the instructions execute? So when your programs, let's say first you will reach the for loop, right? When it will execute statement by statement. So your program will reach for loop. After that, first it initializes the value of n is equal to 10 here. If it is present, if this is present, the value of n is being initialized. After that, it goes and checks n is less than 10 or not. After that, it goes here. It will execute the statement which are inside the for loop. Here we have only one statement. Then when it finishes executing these statements, here it goes back again, increment the value of n, and then it goes again and checks this. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 7. So this part of the loop, which is incrementing the value of n, then checking it again, and then executing the statement inside, this keep iterating until the condition here becomes false. So when the condition this becomes false, then we break out of the loop. We go to the statement which is after the loop here. Okay. So the first and second step, the step number 1 and step number 2, they happen when you enter the loop once, and after that the steps 3, 4, after that the steps 3, 4, 5, they continue executing until the condition becomes false. So the condition is checked first before incrementing, before this final increment here happens. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to the second problem. So the answer to this problem, the problem number 1, is nothing will be printed. Okay. Now coming to problem number 2, which of the following is not an infinite loop? So what is an infinite loop? What does that mean?
Of course, finite.
Sorry, I did not understand.
And
No, could not hear it actually. Can you repeat, or you can write also in chat box?
It will be finite.
Which will be finite? I'm asking that what is an infinite loop? Here the question is asking which of the following is not an infinite loop, but I'm asking you to define a infinite loop. What is an infinite loop?
don't have hand.
Sorry?
Which don't have hand.
I cannot hear. Okay, someone has written.
I
Yeah, so someone has written in the chat that it is a loop which never ends, which means that the condition in the loop which is being checked, like in the for loop, the second part of the statement in the for loop. That is, if I go back, yeah, here. So this n less than 10 condition was there, right? So there is some condition. So this condition never becomes false. It is always true. When it is always true, the program will be stuck in this for loop forever. Okay, it will be stuck inside the loop forever. That is, it will never go to a statement after the loop. That, like, it will never reach here after the loop. It will always be executing like 4 5 3 4 5 3 or this. It will always keep executing like this. So now you have to tell in this question here that which of the followings is not an infinite loop, or you can tell me which of the followings are infinite loop. Just tell for every option. For option, let's go option by option. What is A? Is a infinite loop or a finite loop?
It's infinite.
Okay, yeah, it's an infinite loop. Here we do not have any condition. We do not have any initialization or even any increment or any operation. It's just an infinite loop. Okay, it's like we can say it's true all the time since it is not checking any condition. Now for option B,
It's finite.
why is it finite?
We initialize that x with 0 and checking that x means 0 less than equal to 10. Yes, it is true. The only one time. There is no updation of that variable.
Yeah, so the variable is not updated. What does that make it? Is it a finite loop or infinite loop?
Finite loop.
But x is not
We know the
changed.
number of iterations.
No, but if you do not update x, if you do not change x value from 0 to anything else, what will happen to this condition? If we go back to this problem here, let's say n, I'll write another one here. That will be more clear. So what that option 2 is that for x is equal to 0, x is less than equal to 10. Here let's say we have this as for loop, printf x. So what will happen in this case? How many times will it print x? I think there should be one semicolon here.
It's an infinite loop.
Right. So it's an infinite loop, and it is infinite because x is not getting updated here. When we like we did earlier, when we enter the loop here, x is initialized to 0, then we go and check the condition which is less than x, which is true because 0 is less than 10. Then we go inside and print. Then we go back and we want to do some update, but there is no update specified. So we then go and check x again, but x is still 0. It was not updated. So it will always keep going on and on because this will always be true. And this will go on forever. Okay? Is that clear now? Okay, I hope that is clear. Now, option A is infinite, option B is also infinite loop, option C.
With option B, you have an error. No, ma'am.
Why?
Syntax error.
Yeah, I think there is a syntax error, like there should be a semicolon here, right? But uh, I think that's a typo, but it's an infinite loop otherwise. So option C.
It's finite loop.
Finite loop.
It's finite.
No, no, it's infinite. Infinite means for whether it's not checking for any conditions.
Okay. So is there anyone who disagrees that this is not infinite but a finite loop? Okay. Seems that all of you are convinced that it is an infinite loop. Okay, fine. Yeah, it's an infinite loop because the condition here is 1 and 1 is always true. So not just 1. Okay, I'll not go to that. Okay, what about option D?
It's a false condition.
Okay, then is it a finite loop or infinite loop?
It's finite. Nothing will going to be.
Right. Okay. Any other answer? No other answer. All agree with this? Okay. So what about while 5? What about if I have a loop?
It's infinite. It's
That's
non-zero.
right. Okay. So all of you got the answer correct. So so when we are using any non-zero value inside while loop for a condition, that is true for if also. If we have some non-zero value here, then that will be true always, and that's an infinite loop. But if we use here 0 means false, so the while loop will not even execute once. It will be false, it will not be executed at all. So since the number of iterations here is 0, so it's a finite loop, while here it's an infinite loop. So A, B, C are infinite and D is a finite loop. Any questions? Okay. Problem 3. Consider the following and identify the false statements. First is do while loop must be terminated by a semicolon. Second, do while loop is always an infinite loop. Third, even if the condition is false, the do while loop executes once. And fourth, do while loop is an entry controlled loop.
Option D. Do while is exit control.
Okay, that's a false statement. Any others? Do others agree or not? Or any other answers? So there can be multiple false statements.
Second is false, I think.
Okay. Second is false. There can be multiple false statements. So you should give like tell all of them. So do others agree that second is false?
No, man.
No? Why not?
True.
Second is true.
It depends on that condition, while condition, no, man.
Yeah, it depends on the condition, but
How can you say that it is always infinite?
yes. So is this statement true or false?
It's a false statement.
Yeah, so he said that it's false statement. Right? So second is false because that will depend on the condition. And fourth is false because it's not an entry controlled loop. As you said, it's the condition is checked on it, like in the end exit. What about first and third?
These are true.
Must have terminated by semicolon.
These are true.
Okay, yeah, that's correct. So do while loop must be terminated by a semicolon. So usually, so that's different from for loops. Like, so here in do while loop you write like do.
Oh, you ನಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಯಾರಪ್ಪ ಕೇಳ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾನೆ ನೋಡಿ.
And then there is one semicolon. Can you unmute yourself? Sorry, mute yourself. Okay, so this is like the do while loop. There should be one semicolon here. That's what the option 1 is saying. And then the option 3 is saying that even if the condition is false, the do while loop executes once. So even if here we had 0, the control will enter. The control will
At least one time it will execute.
Yeah, the control
Yes,
will
ma'am.
enter here and execute these statements, and then only it will check the condition, and then it will go and execute again if the condition is true, right? Okay, let's go to the next problem.
Ma'am, can you explain fourth point why it is false?
Fourth point is saying that it's an entry controlled loop. So that means since as we just discussed, that when we enter into the loop here, there is no condition is checked. So it's not being controlled, it's not being checked on entry, it's being checked when we want to exit. In the end, after executing these statements, we check that should we continue or exit. This is different from a for loop where we this is different from a for loop. Like here we first check the condition and then we enter the loop. Okay, okay. So problem number 4, compute the printed values of mn of the C program given below. Sorry.
I think 6 ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am. 668 will be answered.
How will it be 6x?
Ma'am, first it will compare that 0 less than 5 and 0 less than 7. Both conditions are true and it will increment m and n.
Okay.
It tells check for m is equal to 4.
Okay.
M is 4 is less than 5 and 4 is less than 7. It will the conditions become true. Then 5 is less than 5, which is false, but that 5 is less than 7 is true.
Okay.
Then 6 is less than 5, which is false. 6 is less than 7 is true. And next condition, 7 less than 5 is false. 7 less than 7 is also false. Then it come out of the termination.
Okay. Then what will it print?
6.
M and n values.
Shut up.
What values did you use to compare m and n? Yeah.
The loop will continue till n less than 7.
Right. So
So,
then,
ma'am, the value of m will also continue to n less than 7, so m will also 6 and n of course it will be 6.
Why 6? So what is the value of n when this loop condition becomes false?
7, 7. Sorry, 7, 7.
Yeah.
When 6 less than 7, if it true, then it increments. After the incrementation, it will check for the condition. For that condition, it will false. Then that is 7, 7, 7.
Right. Yeah. So it will print 7 7. Now what is this comma and how is it working?
Comma implies or operator.
It's the comma operator. Is my internet not working? Am I audible?
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, can one of you tell me about the comma operator and what is happening here exactly?
It have left to right precedence, ma'am.
Left to right associativity or associativity, I think.
Yes, ma'am. Left to right associate.
Yeah, so what does that mean? I mean, what will happen even this condition is checked? M is less than 5, n is less than 7. Why did it not terminate when m became 5?
Because of comma operator.
Yeah, so I'm asking what exactly comma operator does. Is what is the functionality that it is providing?
Like or operator.
No, it's not or. If I write here n less than 3, then what will be the answer here? If n were not less than 7 but n was less than 3, then what will be the answer here?
5.
Okay, let's see. Let's try that. I think I have this here, problem number 4, right? Yeah. So first, let me just execute this one. Okay.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am, I didn't understand it. How 7 7 came back, please. One sec.
Yeah, I'll come to it. I'll just first I have written this. I hope this is visible. The program is visible. I'll just
Yes, ma'am.
make it, the font is bigger now. If it's not visible, just let me know. Okay, so now I compiled this, and this is exactly the same program that we saw just now, and now I'm trying to run this, and so the answer is 7 7. M is 7, N is 7. Now if I change, what happened to my connection? Okay.
Squad or computer. 5 greater than 5 ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ 5 ಗ್ರೇಟರ್ ದನ್ 5 5ಗೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಈಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ 0 ಇಂದ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗೈತೆ. ಹೌದು. 0 ಲೆಸ್ ದೆನ್ 5 0 ಇನ್ಕ್ರಿಮೆಂಟೆಡ್ 1 ಹಂಗೆ ನೀನು ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ 4 ಲೆಸ್ ದೆನ್ 5 ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ 5 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, 5 ಲೆಸ್ ದೆನ್ 5 ಫಾಲ್ಸು. ಏನ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ 5 ಪ್ರಿಂಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ.
ಮತ್ತೆ
ಹ್ಮ್
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Actually, I lost my connection on the other device for which I was using for audio. So let me just. Okay, we were running this program. Okay, so now M is 7, N is 7. Now, how did we get it? I will come to in a minute, but first I was asking to you that what does the comma operator does, and one of you said that it is like an OR operator. So if it is an OR operator, then the value that it should print here should be 5 and 5, right? So let's try to run and see. But it prints 3, 3, not 5, 5.
Because the associative of the comma from left to right.
Right? Yeah, so the thing is that the comma operator, what it does that when it has these, it will first evaluate this condition, which is m less than 5. So whatever the result that this condition evaluation gives, it will just discard this. It will not even use that result. Then it is going to go to this next statement, evaluate this, and the result of this will be used. Okay, it's not like an OR. It's always going to use the result of the right hand side. And that's why when you are writing here n less than 3, so only that is being used. Not m does not have, m less than 5 condition is not even like, even if it's true, false, it does not matter. Only the right side condition is going to be used for the final. It's like the final result is based only on this right hand side condition, which is n less than 3. When it is when it is n less than 7, because that was the original question, so let's work that out. Initially m is 0, n is equal to 0. Okay, then we enter the while loop, we check the condition. So for that we first evaluate. It's not like that it is not going to evaluate m less than 5. It is going to evaluate it, but the result it is going to just discard it. It's not going to use that. Basically you can just say that it throws that result, because only the result which is coming from the second condition is going to be used. That is the final result. So it first takes m, which is 0, evaluate it, that whether it is less than 5 or not. It's true. Then it goes here, it checks n, which is 0, less than 7, true. So since the second statement is true, it goes inside, increment both of the variable, they become 1. Then it goes again and check the while loop condition, 1 less than 5, 1 less than 7. Since 1 is less than 7, it is true. Goes again, increment becomes 2, 2. And then it again check. Now this will happen till, let's say now m become 4, n become 5. Sorry, m is equal to, n is equal to 4. Okay, both are 4. Then 4 is less than 5 is true. 4 less than 7 is also true. It goes inside again. M become 5, n become 5 also after increment. Now 5 is less than 5 is false. Then it goes and check 5 is less than 7. It's true. So it is going to keep that as a result, that the condition is true. It goes increment both become 6 and 6. Then it goes and check again. 6 is less than 5, not true, it's false. 6 is less than 7 is true, goes inside, increment it, becomes 7, 7. Now 7 less than 5, false. 7 less than 7 is also false. So at that time it comes out of the while loop. But both of the variables now are 7, 7. And that's when it prints m is equal to 7 and n is equal to 7. Was that?
Ma'am?
Yeah.
Ma'am, so it means that the second is actually depends the condition.
Yeah, it depends only on the second condition, not on the first. The first is like as you can see in the IDE also, if you are able to see it, the IDE here, which I'm using Visual Studio itself, has made this a little like I don't know, like blurred, or not blurred, but like it is not clearly visible. And even the message that it is giving me here, it says the relational comparison result unused. It's saying that this result will never be used because that's how the comma operator works. So it is same as writing.
So then,
yeah.
first condition does not affect the second.
Yeah, it does not affect the second condition.
True or false.
Yeah, it does not affect the result at all. Whether it is true or false, doesn't matter. It is always going to be dependent on the second condition. Like
Okay, ma'am.
it doesn't matter what the result is, whether it's true, false, it's always dependent on the second condition. Okay, is that clear? You can go and read about this also from any source once and look at some other examples. Okay, now coming back to the problems. Problem 5. What should be in the place of the series of stars here so that is it not visible?
Continue.
Okay. What should be in the place of these stars here so that except I equal to 8, rest of the values of I as defined in the for loop 0 to 19 will be printed. You have to fill in the blank in place of star so that I is equal to 8. I plus plus. Okay, if you do here I plus plus, what I think if you do here I
Continue should be there because excluding 8 means if you come across a continue, the next statement after that.
Sorry, yeah, there are two answers. What about continue?
Yes, ma'am. Continue it. If that I equal to 8 will become true, the continue will terminates the statements after that.
Continue will become true. No. Okay. Yeah, the answer is correct about the continue answer is correct, but the explanation I'm not sure about. And one was just give me a second and switch my device, okay?
Do you use?
Yeah. Is someone speaking? Okay, so one of the answers was I plus plus. The first answer was I plus plus. Okay, so what will happen if I plus plus is there? So when I is equal to 8 comes, when I becomes 8, it will come here. I equal. Can you mute yourself? Okay, yeah, I equal to 8.
Not audible.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was muted. Okay, sorry. Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, first answer was I plus plus. So when I is equal to 8, we come here. I I equal to 8 becomes is true. So then we do I plus plus. So I will now become 9. We go here, we print the value of I, which is 9. Then we go here again and I will become 10. Will be plus plus, so it will become 10 and it will continue. So I plus plus seems right answer to me. Does others agree?
No, ma'am.
No? So why not?
No, man.
Ma'am, because already there is the operation I plus plus in the for loop.
Right. But
So why it is needed?
why is it? No. So the question is,
Ma'am, if I equal to becomes true, there are two I plus plus incremented. We won't get that 9.
no, we will get right. When I is equal to 8, then we increment here I plus plus. So what does I become? I become 9. After that, we go to the print statement, right? We print I is equal to 9. Then we go back and then increment. Then 9 will become 10. So we did not print 8, but we printed 9. And then we got here and then we continued from 9, incrementing 9 to 10. I'll write it. And
Continue also is okay with
yeah,
condition.
continue is also okay. I'll come to that. Continue is also okay. It's also right answer. But I plus plus, if we do, then that also is a right answer here. Because I have not given you any options. So, what I'm coming to the whiteboard here. Yeah, so the for loop here is I is equal to 0. Say it's 0, right? Yeah. I less than 20, I plus plus. Okay. Then we have here if condition I is equal to 8. Then I'm saying here that if we do I plus plus here, after that we have this print statement I is equal to %d and value of an I. So then here, so you all agree that till the value is 7. So what will happen is when till 7, I will be initialized to 0. We check this condition. Sorry. Please mute yourself if you're not speaking. Okay, so I will be less than 20. Then we go inside. I'm telling this for all values less than 8. Okay, for all values less than 8, I will be checked with 20. It will be less. The condition will be true. We go inside. This will be false. Okay. Then we go here and we print the value of I, right? We go here again and we increment. Now when I is equal to 7, okay, we came inside, it was false. We printed value 7, went here, I became now, I plus plus was done and I became, I plus plus was done and I became 8 here. Now 8 is less than 20. So we again go inside. Now I is 8 here. Okay. Now this condition becomes true here. Now when this condition is true, we went inside the if loop, not the loop. If we go inside the if statements and I is incremented here. I was 8, so I became 9 now. Now when we get out of this if condition and we go to the print statement, now what are we going to print here? We are going to print 9. We entered the loop statements with I is equal to 8. but when we are printing 9. So till now we had printed here 1 up to 7, then we entered with 8 and we printed 9, not 8. Okay, then we went again. After this we go here. Okay, then I is again incremented. Yeah.
Is this mandatory to use continue or not?
No.
Here.
No.
Okay.
No, I just asked you the question. I did not give you any options. If I had given you options, and I think in this question I did not give you option, but the options did not have I plus plus. Okay, but I plus plus is also a correct answer. That's why I'm explaining it. The options, in the option, the correct answer was continue. So when here I is equal to 9. So when you go here to this update, now I is 9, not 8. It has been changed. So it will become 10. Okay, now you will go here, check I is less than 20. It will be here 10. 10 is less than 20. You go inside and then you will print rest of the values till 19. So this will work perfectly if you use here I plus plus. And if you had used here instead of I plus plus, if there were here, if you had used here continue, then that would have been also a perfect answer, because what continue statement does is that basically it is saying that do not execute the rest of the statements in the loop, just go. So it will change the flow of the loop, and now the flow of the loop, I will redraw this. So originally the loop will exit here and go and check here the update. We'll do the update and then check the condition, but because of the continue, it will, after the continue statement, it will directly go to the update and then it will go and check the condition. So this print statement will not be executed if we have a continue here for when I is equal to 8.
So ma'am,
Yeah.
using continue, skip the printf statement for I equal to 8.
Right. Yeah. Using continue, we will not execute the in the statements which are below continue. So when we say continue means that continue the for loop. Do not go to the next statement. Just go and continue the for loop. So it will go above and again update and then check the condition and come back. But this happens only for I equal to 8, only when this condition is true, because we have put the continue inside this if. If we put continue as the first statement, what will happen? If I change this program, this for loop, and put this continue as the first statement, then what do you think? What will be the output here? 1 second, I'll rewrite this. Now this is your for loop. So what do you think will happen? What will be printed?
Ma'am, nothing will printed.
Right. So it will not print anything, because whenever it enters the loop, it will just continue. It will just go back from here itself. It will not print anything. It will run 20 times from 0 to 19, but it will not print anything because it will never execute these statements. Okay. I hope that is clear. Any doubts?
Yeah, ma'am. Clear.
Okay. Okay, 1 second. Okay. I hope there are no more questions in this one. So then let's go to the next problem.
Ma'am?
Yeah.
Ma'am, break is used only in the switch statement?
No, break is used in the for loop also. I think generally it's used in loops only. Is it used in switch? Switch we have break. Switch we have break. Yeah, switch we have break, right? Yeah, it's used in switches and in loops. So break, how does break work? So when we say, let's say instead of continue, if we write here break, and I will remove this also. Okay. So here if we have break, then what will happen? What will be the output of this? That first it's going to, the loop will execute from 0. So still 0 to 7, I is equal to 0 to 7. It will execute normally. It will go inside, print the value of I. Now when I is equal to 7, it is going to come here, update the value of I. Sorry, my screen is not even visible because I had switched it out.
Break. So I think the answer will be 0 to 7.
Right. Answer will be 0 to 7 because here when I becomes.
I think answer will be continuous statement.
Yeah, the answer will be continue, but one of you asked about break statements. So I'm explaining what a break statement does. So when we write break here, then what happens is then when till I is equal to 7, it is going to print 7, 1, like print the value of I here, 1, 2, starting from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now when I is equal to 7, we come here, then the value of I will be updated to 8. Now we go and check 8 is less than 20. We come inside. Now I is equal to 8. The condition is true. We go inside and then we have a break statement. Break means break out of the loop. So after the break, the control will go out of the loop. It doesn't go back. It just goes out of the loop. Okay. No more conditions will be checked. No more statements will be executed inside the loop. Just out of the loop to the next statement, which is outside the loop. That's it for the break. Now coming to the next problem. What will be the output for this?
I'm NPTEL.
Okay. Any other answers?
That syntax error.
Why? Okay. Any other answer?
There is no break statement in this program.
Okay. One of you had asked the difference between continue and break. Is that clear? I hope that is clear. Okay. So one answer you've given me is NPTEL. Okay. So someone said there is a syntax error because there is no break statement. Okay. Any more answers?
NPTEL.
NPTEL. Okay. So what happens in switch statement? So okay. So what happens here is the x is initialized to 0, then we are switching to x. So x is 0, so we go to the case 0 and we print the value of NPTEL. But in switches, if you reach a case and if after that case there is no break.
NPTEL SWAM IIT ISC.
Yeah, since there is no break statement after this printf, it will going to execute all of the statements. It's going to like serially. Okay. It's very important to put a break after every case in switch. If you do not put a break, then it is going to go to that case which x is representing here. Let's say x is equal to 0. So it will go to case 0 here in this case. It will print NPTEL, and after that, since there is no break, it will go to case 1 also, print Swayam, or I don't know what is written. And after that, it is going to the default case also and print IIT/IISc. Okay, so it is going to print all of these. So the answer will be, as I type in this, I'll not type, that will take more time. So it will just be NPTEL and there is no space, or there is no, as you can see, it will just print all of that in without any space, etc. All of these.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
I think the answer should be NPTEL and then IISc. How it can print case one statement?
Yeah, so actually it is, since that's how the switch statement works. If you do not put any break statement after a case, like you have here printf, after that you did not write any break, so the program does not know like it has to stop after printing nptel. It will just go and print and execute all of the statements after this. It is so you're saying that it should print only default statement, which is printf IIT but not case one. But that's not how the it works. The syntax here, the control flow of the program will be that the switch, you're giving it some value here x. Based on that, if x were 1, okay, if x were 1, then you would go to case 1, then you will print swayam, and after that you will go to default and you will print IIT ISC. So in, if x were 1, then your output would be swayam IIT ISC, and not, that is SWAWAM IIT. I hope that is clear. Like I can write it and execute this so that you can, we can just quickly write this and see also.
Ma'am,
Yeah. Yeah.
excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, if there will be no any break in case 0,
Yeah.
but in case 1 there will be the break.
Yeah. Right.
So default case will not print it.
Yeah, it will not be printed. That's correct.
Oh.
Yeah, as soon as it hits a break statement, it is not going to print after that. But unless it does not, it is going to continue printing. Like it is going to basically continue executing the statements. I should not say printing. Let me first save this file. What thing is it? Okay, let's say this were, it's almost similar. And if we pray first, we are going to compile this. So since there were no, I hope this is visible. So this is the output. There are no new line here, so it is going to print everything like this. It's printing everything like this. I hope my screen is visible. Now, if there were break statements here, and I will also come to the next question that you asked. Break after default is not needed actually, but because that's the last anyways. Now, since I've put a break here, now it's printing only NPTEL. Okay. Now, one of you asked that if we remove break after case 0 and have only break after case 1, then what will happen? So now it prints only NPTEL and swayam or whatever but it is not printing IIT in the end. So is that clear? How break is working with switches?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So it's very important for you to remember whenever you're using break, using switches, to use break in after every case. Okay. And what will happen if x is equal to 2? What will be printed?
It will print IIT only.
Right, that's correct. Okay, let's go to the next question. If there are any if there are any doubts, then let me know. So then next problem. Again, what will be the output of this program?
I think 3 and 0.
Only that? How many times will the loop be executed?
3 times.
Okay, then how many print statements?
Okay.
There should be 3 print statements.
Yes, ma'am. I think in first iteration it will print 1 and 3, and in next 2 and 2 and
I think that's right. What will be in the last one?
the last one 3 and 0.
0?
3 and 1.
Okay. Any other answers?
Yeah, ma'am. First, ma'am, 1 and 3, then 2 and 2, and then 3, 1.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I'll just go over it once. And those I think the answer is correct. So I can just Google it once. So first we have declared here variables k and j. Okay, then here we are assigning them value 1 and 3. That's what we do when we enter the loop. Okay, then we are going to check these conditions. First condition is that k is less than equal to 3. Okay. I'm not really sure. Okay, k is less than equal to 3, which is true. So 1 is less than equal to 3, right? And then j is 3. 3 is greater than equal to 1. That is also true. So we go inside and print the values of k and j. So first we are going to print here output 1 and 3, right? Then we go here, then the values will be incremented and k will become 2 and j will be decremented and it will become 2. So we go here, 2 is less than equal to 3 and 2 is greater than equal to 1, true, both. Then we come here and we print, so 2 and 2. Then we again go back. Now k is 2 and j is 2. Okay. K is 2, j is 2. So k will be incremented here. It will become 3. J will be decremented, becomes 1. Now we'll come here. 3 is less than 3 and 1 is greater than 1. Okay, we come and then we print them. So 3 and 1. Then again we go back and Now k will become 4 and j will become 0. So 4 is less than equal to 3, false, and 0 is greater than equal to 1 is also false. So it falls and we come out of the loop. So this will be the output 1 3 2 2 3 1. Okay. Okay, so if there are no doubts, let's go to the next problem. What will be the output of this program? We have one variable here, p. P is initialized to 0, p is less than 3 is the condition, p is incremented on update. Then we have here int p equal to 4, and then we are printing here the value of p. So what will be the output of this program?
I think
Sorry, I think I've muted you because, yeah.
yes, ma'am. I think 4 will be printed 3 times.
Okay. Okay. Can you explain why?
तो 1 2 के लिए चलेगा p की वैल्यू, और चूंकि int p इक्वल टू 4, ये हम फॉर लूप के अंदर इसको इनिशियलाइज कर रहा है
Okay.
और डिक्लेयर कर रहा है, तो इसको हम अंदर यूज कर सकते हैं, और जो बाहर जो p इक्वल टू 0 p लेस देन 3 p प्लस प्लस है, वो बाहर वाला p के लिए काम करेगा, आई थिंक.
Okay. Okay. Any other answers? Any other answers?
Ma'am, I think
Yeah.
am I-
Yes, yes, you are audible.
ma'am, I may be wrong.
It's okay.
Ma'am, I think 4 will be printed one time.
Okay. Okay. Why is that?
Ma'am, p equal to 0, then it will be true because it is less than 3.
Right.
Then it will print p equal to 4, which is initialized.
Yeah.
Then now we know the value of p is 4.
Okay. Yeah.
So it will increment and becomes 5. So 5 less than 3, it is not.
Okay. 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 Fine. Okay, so let's look at what is scope of variables. I think my screen is so what is the scope of a variable? The scope of a variable base scope as it's written here. So scope means lifetime. Lifetime of a variable means the variable is available to be used, where we can use it, okay, where we can access it. Now in C language, the variable scope is like defined, it's based on where it is declared, where the variable is declared. Based on that it can have its lifetime. Okay, so for example, this variable here int var equal to 34, it is inside this main function. So here we can print the value, we can use the variable var, like we can print it, and the scope of this variable is set to be only within this function main. Okay, you cannot use it outside the function main. The scope means the lifetime, or like the time or the area in which you can use the variable. Once the function main finishes its execution, it's no longer being executed, you cannot use the variable outside it. Okay, that's all basically. Now you must be aware about global variables. Okay, global variables you declare outside any functions. So it's like in this example, it's here, it's int global equal to 5. doesn't show that. So here global variable global equal to 5, it can be used in any of the functions, like here in display also, in display function also you can print it, in main function also you can change it or you can print it. Okay, so it is accessible from all of the functions because its scope is global. Okay, but and when we declare any function only inside a when we declare a variable only inside a function, that is the first example here, int var equal to 34. So this is, such variables are said to have local scope, and the scope is only within that function. Is that clear? Why am I losing my connection? What is happening? Hello? Hello?
You can ask.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry about my internet connection. Okay. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am. You are audible.
Okay, let me share my screen again. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. I hope it is visible now. So I was talking about, okay, I was talking about scope rules in C. That is the scope of a variable. So what I was saying is that there are, so you must know that you can define a global variable. The global variables are declared outside any function. If they are like, they're not inside any function basically, and those are called global variables. And you can access a global variable inside any function or anywhere. But then there are also local variables. Local means they are accessible only inside that function where they are declared. Like this variable var here, it is a local function because it is accessible only in this main. If you write another function here, let's say foo, and try to print var in that function foo, then you cannot do that because this variable is local to function main. Okay, now that's about global and local function variables. Now there is also called block scope in C. So block is any set of statement which is enclosed within a left and right braces. Like and this is same, you can say the same for like for loops also, basically loops also. So block in C, you can write left and right braces, and you can enclose a set of statement inside that, and you can create blocks in this way, like as shown in this example. It doesn't have any loop or anything. It's just a set of braces. Like it first is starting here and it is ending here. That is one block. Okay, this is one block. Inside this block, what they have done is in this example, they have initialized two variables, x is equal to 10 and y is equal to 20. Okay. Now, inside this block, they are creating another block, which is a nested block. Okay. There is again one set of parentheses, not parentheses, I think braces, set of braces, left and right braces. And this is the nested block. In that nested block, what they're doing is that they're printing the value of x and y. Now, x and y value, which is printed here, so when we declared here x is equal to 10 and y is equal to 20, that is visible inside the nested block. Okay. I'll just read this. So a block is a set of statements enclosed within left and right braces. Block may be nested in C. A block may contain other block inside it. A variable declared inside a block is accessible in the block and all inner blocks of that block, but not accessible outside the block. Okay, you cannot, if you have declared some variable inside a block, it is visible inside that block and all the nested blocks, but you cannot access the value of x and y outside this block. That is, if you try to write a print statement before this return 0, that is soon after this green set of line, soon after that, if you write a print x and print y, that will give you an error because it is not visible here. But if you try to print here x and y, so it will print x is equal to 10 and y equal to 20. Now again, they have created one more nested block, and inside that nested block, it is creating another variable y which has the same name. Already there was y equal to 20 in some outer block, but it is again declaring y. Now this y, now since you have declared another variable with the same name, now this terminates the scope of the outer variable y. The outer variable y will not be accessible in this block any longer. Okay, only this new y will be accessible. So then if you increment the value of y, then the new variable y will be incremented and not the outside one. Okay, so are you able to follow this? If not, I can try to write. So inside this block, when we declare one variable with same name as y, with the same name y, and initialize it to 40. Now since this variable has the same name as y, so the previous variable, which was y equal to 20, that its scope is actually ended here, and now there is, because there is another variable y with the same name, that is y. Now when we are doing here x plus plus, we are actually using the variable which is outside this block, not just outside this block but outside that block, like this one. So here when we do x plus plus, so x is 10 and x will become 11, but when we do y plus plus, it will not be 20 plus plus, it will actually be 40 plus plus, because y is equal to 40 inside this block. So if you look at the output, so first print statement is here. It will print x is equal to 10, y equal to 20. Then inside this block, we have declared one new variable with the same name y, and incremented y and incremented x also. So x will become 11 and y will become 41. Now as soon as this block ends here, now this y is again not accessible. Okay, it is not accessible. Now the y which is accessible outside this block is the previous y, this one. So when we print here, then it will be 11 and 20. This is scopes, house block scope in C. Did you understand this example?
Yes, ma'am.
Others?
Ma'am?
Did you understand this example?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's great.
Ma'am,
Yeah,
I didn't understand the third printf statement.
Okay.
Why it printed 11 instead
why
of
you
10?
printed 11. Right. Okay, so we first here declared x equal to 10, y equal to 20. So what does this mean? That x will be visible in this block, which is starting here, ending here. Okay, x is visible inside this block, and any block, any nested block. I hope you understand nested blocks, right? Like nested loops. So it will be visible in this block and any nested block. So this block is is nested block 1, and this is like second nested block. So x will be visible in this block and also this one. And any operation you do on x, that will be persisted. Like it will if you increment the value of x inside this, that will, because what happens is okay, I'll go back to my whiteboard and write it here. It will be better. I'll take a more simpler. I think they have like 3 nested blocks. I'll take just one, like 2. Okay, x is equal to 10, y is equal to 20. Okay, then we go inside. Okay, and I'll take only one nested block here. So here what they're saying in the example, that initialize one variable 40, and then we do x plus plus and y plus plus, and then we print x and y. Here also let's say print x and y, and before entering also print x and y. Now I will tell you this with the help of like just like variables. What does a variable mean in C? So when we say when we declare a variable, means a chunk of memory is allocated for that variable. Like here we are saying that x is a variable of type integer, right? Means it is depends on the implementation, basically depends on the compiler, but in general 4 bytes is allocated for an integer. So here let's say 4 bytes, I'm just representing with that box, some 4 byte or some memory is allocated for this variable x. Now I'm just going to write here like x, okay, and another variable y, same. Now when you say x is equal to 10, that value 10 is filled in this memory here, and similarly 20 is filled in this memory location. Now when you do here print, it will print 10 and 20. Now you go inside this block. Okay, now what happens here is that it is going to it is again declaring one variable with name y. Now again one more location is allocated, memory location is allocated with name y. Okay, and the scope of this is only limited to, within this block, this nested block. Okay, this block, it's not visible outside. Now it will be value 40 will be stored in this location. Now when you come to this statement x plus plus, now where is x? X was actually outside, right? This nested block, x is outside, so it is going to go there and incremented there. So now this will be incremented here, it will become 11. Now when you do y plus plus, it will increment it here, it will become 41. Now when you print here, it will print 11, 41. Now when you come out of this block to this print statement, it will print value of x and y. Now this y, which you initialized, which you declared inside this nested block, this, all of this is destroyed now. It's gone. It's no longer, the scope is gone. It's not visible now outside this block. Okay, so only these values are visible. So it is going to print 11 and 20 here.
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, it's understood.
Okay. Okay, so now let's go back to the question again. The question is based on the scope of blocks. So now let's again, all of you just try to answer this question. Okay. Try. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you give the right answer or not, but just try.
Yes, ma'am. 4 will be printed 3 times.
Right, that's right. But what about others? Do you agree?
Yeah, ma'am. Same.
Okay, yeah, that's correct. So 4 will be printed 3 times here because it's because of the scope of the variable. We have here variable int p, okay? So as I talked about earlier, like y variable was also there, declared twice. So here we have declared here variable p is initialized to 0, p is less than 3 is true. We go inside this block, we have declared p again, like we have declared another variable and we are calling it p, okay, again. So that means a new memory is allocated for this variable p, and 4 is kept in that memory, and when we print p, it will print 4. But when we go out of this block here, which is specified by this set of curly braces, when we go outside here and we increment p, now it's not the p which is inside which is getting incremented, it's the p which is outside, which is 0. So it gets incremented, it becomes 1. Now 1 is less than 3 is true. It goes inside again, prints 4 again, then it goes back. Now 1 will become 2, 2 is less than 3, goes again inside and print 4 again, and then p will become 3, 3 less than 3 will become false, and it will not print in. So it will print 4 3 times because the loop will execute 3 times. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am. लेकिन मैम एक चीज था,
Yeah.
अगर जैसे कि जो फॉर लूप के अंदर जो int p is equal to 4 लिखा है, तो समझ में आ रहा है कि हाँ, वो जो फॉर लूप का जो प्रेसेस है उसके बाहर वो काम नहीं करेगा.
Right.
लेकिन जो बाहर का जो p है वो तो फॉर लूप के अंदर काम कर सकता है, तो उसके बाद भी हम यहाँ पे int p लिख रहे हैं, तो एरर शो करना चाहिए ना कि एक वेरिएबल दो बार डिक्लेयर नहीं हो सकता.
Nay, as I just talked about, like when we declare one other variable inside some other block. So since a new, so with this curly braces, set of curly braces, we have here started a new block, and inside a different block, we can actually redeclare a variable. We can declare a variable with the same name, and when we do so, then the previous variable's scope actually ends. Now since new variable with the same name is there, so the previous variable p is no longer accessible here. Only the new variable will be accessible.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know why this is coming. Anyways. Let's go to problem number 9. There's some network issue. Okay. Hmm. Is this visible like this?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Okay. So here again you have a C program. Input, it's saying that if the user gives input value as 7, then what will be shown on the output window? You have a scanf statement here, which and you are scanning the variable, basically the input, and storing it in variable n. So n will be 7 after this scanf, I is equal to 2. Then it's asking what will be the output of this program.
The number is prime and it will print.
Okay. Any other answer?
Yes, ma'am, the same answer.
May I explain?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, ma'am. The value of n is given 7 by the user.
Yeah.
Okay. So I values is 2. So now we enter into the do loop. So if does not give the true condition, as it is not equal to 0, 7 modulo 2. So there will be no execution of the printf. The number is old. Now the value of I will increment. I will be 3.
Right.
So now we will enter in the while loop, and now I value is 3 and n value 7. So 3 is less than 7. So the printf, the number is prime, will execute.
So when here, so this is inside while, wait, 3 is less than 7. We'll go again, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So since 3 is less than 7, we go again to do, and we do this. So would you, so
7 modulo 3.
yeah, it will be 7 modulo 3, which is still
Not equal
not
to 0.
equal to 0. So then I will become 4. Then 4 is
And
less
4
than
less than
7. We again go,
Yes.
we again check.
7 modulo 4.
Yeah, 7 modulo 4, which is still not 0. So we again increment I 5. 5 is less than 7. We again go check.
7 modulo 5.
7 modulo
Which is
5.
again not equal to 0.
Yeah. Which is also still not 0. Then we go increment, it becomes 6. 6 less than 7. Then 7 modulo 6 is not 0. Then I becomes 7. Now 7 is less than 7. Not true. So we go out and print the number is prime. Is that clear? So since this, yeah, since this this is the while condition, and this is a loop. Okay, fine. I think okay, this is internet. Okay, we have one last quiz question. After that, we'll do some programming question. No, this. Okay, I think if you can see it like this, that would be. So this is the, what will be the output of this program? Here we have I equal to 0, then we have for loop. Inside the for loop we have I, if I equal to 10, then continue. And then we have a printf. So what will be the output of this program?
It will print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Hmm.
and 11, 12, 13, and it will go in infinite loop.
11, 12, 13. Okay, first of all, okay, it will print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But after 10, will it not become I equal to like 10 equal to 10, then it will go continue? I'm not sure if I'm this. I'm saying that when I becomes 10, then it will come here, it will check 10 is equal to 10. That will be true. So it will go continue. Continue means it will go here. I will still remain 10. So it will come again, it will check I equal to 10. True. It will again go continue. No? So then it is going to print only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Anyone? What will it print?
It will go in infinite loop. It
Yeah.
will print 1.
1. Only 1.
Can I?
What will it print?
It will print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13. It will skip 10 and goes in infinite loop and print by increasing 1.
Why will it skip and print 11?
It is because when I is equal to 10,
Yeah.
then it will skip that iteration
How?
and didn't print. How? Because use of continue. We use continue statement.
Yeah, we use continue. So when I is equal to 10, what will happen? If condition is 10 equal to 10, which is true, right? So it will continue. What will happen after continue?
It will skip that iteration. It या आगे का कोड वो मतलब प्रिंट नहीं करेगा और सीधे वो नेक्स्ट इटरेशन चल.
Huh, so before going to the next iteration, what will happen? It will come here, right? Here, where I'm pointing. Now here, there is no update on I. So I does not change. I will still be 10. Isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
So then it goes again. It goes again inside. Then it again checks if 10 equal to 10, continue. It will again go. 10 equal to 10, continue. Will it ever print 11?
No.
What about us? Okay. What do other thing? So anybody else? Okay.
No, it will not. Yes, no. It will not print 11. It will print only from 1 to 10.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, well, that seems to be a correct answer, but actually that is not a correct answer. Well, let's look at this. So this is problem number 10, and I have this code here, and we just discussed that it should print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
10.
right? And let's try to run this program and see what does it print. Problem 10.c minus o problem 10.o problem 10.o. So it just does not print anything. It's actually in an infinite loop here. Okay, it's not printing anything. but it's an infinite loop. But it should have printed, as we just discussed, it should have printed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 10, and after that it should go into an infinite loop and not print anything. So what happened here? Now let me just change the program by a little bit. That is, I'm going to add here a \n, which is a new line like symbol. Okay, \n here, and I'm going to recompile and I'm going to do it again, and now run it again, and now it prints 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and after that now it's enough infinite loop. So this program actually it's not printing anything when there is no \n, and that the reason for that is how printf is implemented. So printf actually writes to the standard output, means the standard output means the terminal. So it, yes, Harshi, do you have a question? Okay.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am, I'm not able to understand what the compiler will understand the empty for loop with only semicolons.
It's an infinite loop. So the compiler just sees that there is no initialization condition, there is no condition, there is no update. So those things are not there. It's just going to, control is just going to come here. There is no update. Then there is no condition. No condition means always true. We discussed like the second or the third question where we had this question that which of the following is an infinite loop. And that time we had discussed that for with 2 semicolons, like this syntax, is actually an infinite loop because there is no condition being checked here. So it is always true. Okay. So this is an infinite loop. It's always true. But now here the question was, then what is it going to print? It's always true, but what is it going to print? So we discussed that I is equal to 0. So when the loop enters the first time, the if condition will be false. It will go to the print. It will increment the value of I plus I. So I will become 1. It will print 1. Then it goes back again to the for loop. No condition is being checked. No update is happening. It goes back again to line 7. Now 1 is equal to 10, false. So it goes to line number 9 and it prints, it again increment the value of I from 1 to 2 and prints 2. It will continue like this until I value is incremented to 10. When it is incremented to 10, it goes here. Now line number 7, 10 equal to 10 will become true. So it will go to line number 8, which is continue, and after that it is going to go to line number 6. Now I is equal to 10. It again enters the loop with value I equal to 10. It goes to line number 7 again. Now I is still 10. So this condition is still true. It again goes to line number 8. Continue, again goes to line number 7. And it is stuck in line 6, 7, 8 forever. Okay, it is again and again going to check that I equal to 10. It is again going to continue and keep checking. It's like stuck here forever. So it is going to print values only from 1 to 10, not after that. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Others? Nishu, is it clear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. So if this is clear, now when we, so first what we did, that we took this program and we ran this, but we saw that this is not printing anything. Okay. Now after that, I made a small change in the program. In the print format specifier here, I added this new line character, that is /n. And after that, I recompiled the program and I again ran the program. Now you can see here in the output that earlier it was not printing anything. Now it is printing 1 till 10, and after that it is in that infinite loop which I told just now, 6, 7, 8 lines. It's just stuck here forever. Okay. Now, the reason why this happens, that it is printing on new line when new line character is added but not printing otherwise, is because printf buffers the characters which it has to print on the terminal. So it buffers until a new line character is seen. Okay, so when you do not add a new line character, basically all of the values 1 2 3 etc are buffered somewhere in the memory and they're not being printed. So there are two ways to print for it to print. Either you can use a function called flush, and you can write here standard output. If you do this, then it is going to print every time. Okay, I think so. I haven't checked this, but I think, yeah, like it's going to print now all the values since there is no \n now here, but it still prints. It's a forceful way. Like flush, I think, means force flush. You are forcing the program to flush whatever is there in the buffer to the output. And std output stands for standard output, which is your terminal. Okay, so it is here printing everything, but otherwise it does not. So I think I have this Linux manual open, which talks about this also, that in C programs, I think it's not general for C program, but it's just talking in general, that there are three types of buffering available. One is unbuffered, where we do not buffer. So if you give 1 to printf, it will print 1 itself. But that's not how printf works. But I'm just saying that there are three types of buffering. First is unbuffered, nothing is buffered. Then there is block buffered, and then there is line buffered. Okay. So when an output stream, in case of this program, the output stream is the standard output. Other example of an output stream is the file. You can either write to a file or you can write to a terminal. So when an output stream is unbuffered, the information appears on the destination file or the terminal as soon as written. And when it is block buffered, many characters are saved up and written as a block. Okay. When it is line buffered, the characters are saved up until a new line is output or the input is read from any stream attached to a terminal device. So here the line which is of interest to you is this one. When it is a line buffered, characters are saved up until a new line. So printf function is a line buffered function. So what happens that the characters are being saved up, which is buffered, until a new line character is seen. So once it sees that a new line character is there, it is going to print everything. But if there is no new line, it is not going to print it. Usually it prints when the program ends. Okay. At that time it prints. Like you can say that I wrote a program, I did not add a new line character, but still it printed. Usually it will print when the program ends. But in this case, the program was never ending. It's in the for loop, so it was not printing. Okay. Is that clear?
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. And here also, I think it mentions about flush. The function flush may be used to force the block out early. And the function flush here is taking as input a stream. So we are giving it the like where do you want it to flush it. So we are telling it to flush it to the standard output, which is a terminal. There is one more question which was there on Stack Overflow, the same question. Why does printf not flush after the call unless a new line is in the format string? So it has similar answers. That the standard output stream is line buffered by default, so will only display when what's in the buffer after it reaches a new line or when it's told to. So you can either write a new line or you can just write a flush to flush out the buffered data. I hope that is clear. So that's about this program.
So, ma'am, we will use when we will not use the slash n.
Yeah, yeah, if you are not using slash n and you want to print whatever there is in you have written so far, then you can use f flush.
But I think that slash n is easy to use instead of it.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe you are writing to a file and you want to maybe flush everything. There could be some use case. I'm not sure about that, but you can always use f flush also. So now coming to, we have very less time left, but let's go over the programs quickly. So first one is write a C program to count total number of digits of an integer number. Okay, you have to count the number of digits in a given integer number. So like here, first test case is 9, 3, 4, 5, 2, 1. This is your input. Now it has 6 digits. Is the question clear to you? You have to print the number of digits in a given integer.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, is it clear to others? Is it clear? Okay, okay. So how will you calculate the number of digits in a given integer? Now,
Then by using loops, we can extract the digit and count the number.
count the okay, okay,
Yes, by using a simply while, if we store the number in variable n, we can use while n is greater than 0, and in that loop we use n is equal to n by 10, and count C++ we can use.
okay,
Like this we can do it.
okay, okay. Anybody else wants to try? How will you if anybody else wants to try? So this is your number. Let's say n is equal to 9345. I'll take small number 934. Okay. Now we want to calculate the number of digits in this number, and we know that the answer is 3. As we know, we can see that. Now what we do is that we are going to divide this number by 10. What happens when we divide this number by 10? 934 divided by 10. What will we get? So since we are dividing an integer by an integer, so in C, the output is also an integer, and the decimal part is actually not printed. So that's not
Equal to 93.
Yeah, so it is equal to 93. Okay, and then again we take the value of n divided by 10, which is 93. It will become 9. Then we take again the value of 10 divided by 10, it will become 0. Okay, so the number of times we divide the value of n by 10 so that it becomes 0, that is the number of digits the number has. So the number of digits in the given number, integer number n, is equal to the number of times we divided by 10 before it becomes 0. Is that clear? So here we divided it by 10 3 times, and then it became 0. So the number n has 3 digits. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now all we have to do is that write a program to do this. Now how will you write a program? What is the condition that you are checking? So you're going to check, you can just write a while loop. Okay, you can probably write a for loop as well. I mean, of course, you can write a for loop as well, but while is easier choice here. So what we are checking here is that, what are we checking? We are checking that n is not equal to 0. As soon as n becomes 0, we don't divide it further, okay? If n is not equal to 0, we are going to take the value of n and divide it by 10. That's what we are doing. Okay, and then we take another variable, say count, initialize it to 0, and then inside this we are going to increment the value of count, and finally we can just print count. I'm writing pseudocode, I'm not writing proper syntax here, but that's I have the program below, I'll show you that. But before that, we have here, we used another variable called count, in which we are going to keep the number of digits. Okay, count. So this is number of digits. Capital N is our original number. Okay, input number. Should call it input number. Okay, then here in the condition we are checking n is not equal to 0. So when, for this example, n is equal to 934 is not equal to 0, then we increment count, it will become 1, then it will be divided by 10, it will become 93, then 93 is not equal to 0, then we again increment count to 2, then and 93 divided by 10 becomes 9, 9 not equal to 0, then count will become 3, and 9 will be divided by 10 will become 0, and then 0 is not equal to 0, then the condition will become false, and we will break out of the loop and will print the value of count as 3. So I hope this is clear. Now the program, you're going to just like it's same. You can write not equal to 0 or greater than 0, anything is fine. Count is 0, and here we have just used some temporary variable to store the value of n. It's greater than 0, count plus plus, and we divide it by 10 every time. And finally we print count. So is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Okay, good. We have this program. The programs are simple only. I'll just go over them quickly. So write a C program to find sum of following series where the value of n is given as input. Okay, you are given some value n, and you have to compute this value. Okay, if n is equal to 1, your output will be 1. Okay, if n is equal to 2, your output will be 1 plus 1 by 2. If n is equal to 3, your output is 1 plus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 3. And if n is some, let's say, arbitrary n, so it's like 1 plus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 3 plus 1 by 4 plus 1 by 5, so on till 1 divided by n. So your program takes as input only one value, which is we are calling n, and it outputs this series sum, which is 1 plus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 3 dot dot till 1 by n. For example, if the input is 6, then the sum of the series, which is 1 plus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 3 plus 1 by 4 plus 1 by 5 plus 1 by 6, that output sum I think is 2.45. We can verify with program. Now, how will you do this? So I want someone else to try this time.
By simply using for loop, we can try this.
Sure.
सबसे पहले हम कोई float में declare कर लेंगे some variable.
Okay.
और जैसे for loop हम लगा सकते हैं for सबसे पहले scanf करा लेंगे n को, और for I is equal to 1 to capital N, and we can do sum plus is equal to 1 upon I by simply using explicit type conversion here, as we need this part. By simply doing this, we can do this problem.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I think that's correct, and I'll go through the program now. So we have first we have declared one variable capital N, which is representing as our input value. Okay, then we want to, since as we can note here, these values 1 by 2 plus 1 by 3, they are actually rational numbers and they'll be decimals. So if we use an integer for the sum, then we are always going to get 1 as an answer. Okay, if you use integer, you're always going to get 1 as an answer. So to represent floating point numbers, will it be always? Yeah, I think so. So you have to use a floating float here, which is the representation for decimal numbers, float. You declare the sum variable as a float and initialize it to 0.0 here. So this is your output sum, series sum. Then you scan the value of N as input and then we are writing here a for loop, and the loop will start from 1 and it will execute till capital N, and that is because as is the series is, you can say that it is like 1 plus 1 plus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 3 up to capital N, right? So that's why we are, so the denominator actually is what is being represented in the for loop variable here. So I is actually the denominator here, okay, in that series. So I is equal to 1 till capital N. We have to iterate for every value from I equal to 1 to capital N. And this is, I think, now you understand that for doing so, we have to write I equal to 1. Sorry about this. I equal to 1, I is less than equal to capital N, and then I plus plus. Okay. Every time we increment the value of I by only 1, by once. Then inside the for loop, I've not used the braces here, but because that was not necessary, but you can use the braces. Inside the for loop here, now we are going to update the value of sum, that is compute the value. Every time we are, so the way it is getting computed in the for loop is like that. First it is 1, sum is equal to 1, sum is initialized to 0.0. After the first iteration, it will be sum plus 1 divided by 1. Then it will be sum is equal to sum plus 1 divided by 2. Then it will be sum is equal to sum plus 1 divided by 3. Okay. So initialized here it is 0.0. That means it will be 0.0 plus 1 divided by 1, which is 1.0. Okay. Then it will be 1.0 plus 0.5, because half. Okay, then it will become 1.5. Then it will be 1.5. So it's a cumulative sum. Whenever the value of sum is being it's used here, the previous value of the sum is being reused, right? It's 0.33 or something, 1.83, something will be there. So that's what is happening inside the loop. I'm just trying to write it so that it's easier to understand. Now, yeah.
Why does it need to write the float here?
Yeah, it's very important to write typecast here, float, because here one value is integer. Okay, it's treated as integer. It's a literal, it's treated as integer, and I, as we have declared it here, it's also an integer. So if you do not write here float, then this will be 1 divided by I, which is, both are integer, and since then it will be an integer division. Integer division is different in C. So in C, integer division is not going to output the decimal values. Okay, it's just, as I said, 93 divided by 10 will give you 9, not 9.3. Okay, so here also, if you do not write float, it's just an integer division. So in that case, since I is always less than equal to 1, So in the first time when this iteration is executed, then I equal to 1, it will be 1. But after that, always I is greater than 1, that is 2, 3 and so on. So 1 divided by 2 is 0.5. But integer division will output only 0, not 0.5. I divided by 3 is 0.33. It will output 0, not 0.33. So to make it output a floating point number, you do a typecast. So this syntax is called casting, typecast in C. That is, if you have, so since this value 1 is an integer, but if you write before this parenthesis, and inside this if you write float, this changes the type of 1 from integer to float. Okay, now it is actually not 1, it's like 1.0 after doing so. And now if you will divide it, yeah.
Ma'am, if it is 1 by 2 and
Yeah.
we don't write float,
Yeah.
so it will compute as 0.
Yeah, it will compute 0.
Okay.
That's integer division, because 1 divided by 2 is 0.5 and the answer will be 0. That decimal is never printed in integer division. Basically it just takes as the result is an integer, not the decimal number. So the integer part is 0. 0.5 is the decimal part, that's not printed. So, and that's not the answer that we are looking for, right? We want a float number, this sum. So that's why we have to convert, and after we convert it, the value, so as you can see, the pop-up shows that this expression float of 1 actually says that the type is float and the value is 1.0. It's no longer just 1. Earlier it was 1, integer 1. Now it is float 1.0. Now if you divide a float by a float, the answer is float. If you divide a float by a integer, the answer is still float. So you can write float here. If you want, you can write float here as well. Both, it will still, but this is also perfectly fine. Like here you are typecasting both of the variables to float, 1 to float and I2 also float. Now it will be 1.0 divided by 2.0. Answer will be 0.5 and that will be result will also be 0.5. Okay, but if you write float with only one of the variables, that is also sufficient. That's what I'm just saying. It's okay to write with both. It's okay to write with only one of them. That is also sufficient.
Okay, ma'am.
But you have to do the typecasting if you want a decimal output. So then in every iteration, you're taking the value of I and you are adding to the current sum I 1 divided by I till capital N. Okay, and finally you just print the value of sum. Now we can run this, and okay, I'll just compile and run this one. So it's waiting for the input, and let's give it 3. So then it prints sum of the series is 1.83. Okay.
Ma'am, what have you written here in the printf statement? 2f?
Yeah, so this is %.2f. So if we write only f, then it will print many decimal characters, like 1.83333. If you want to limit it, like you want to say, okay, just print only up to 2 decimal points, then you can write 0.2. Now it will print only up to 2 decimal points. Only till 1.8.
Okay, ma'am. If we write 0.4, so it will print 0.4.
Yeah, till 4 decimal places.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. I think. Okay. Write a C program to check whether the given number can be expressed as power of 2 or not. For example, 8 can be expressed as 2 to power 3 because 2 into 2 into 2 is 8. So now you will be given as an input a number n, and as an output you have to tell whether the number is a power of 2 or like can be expressed as a power of 2 or not. Did you understand the question? Like for okay, for example, let's say 4, like 2 power of 2s. What are power of 2s? 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, okay, 32, 64, etc. These are power of 2. Like this is 2 to power 1, 2 to power 2, 2 to power 3, 2 to power 4, 2 to power 5, 2 to power 6, and so on. Okay. Now, if you're given any number, say 3, 3 is not a power of 2. Now, your program, if 3 is given, it should say not a power of 2. Okay. If it's given as input 16, it should say power of 2. So that's what is expected. Like 3 is your input and output. So how will you do that? How will you check? So basically you have to write a program to check whether a given number is a power of 2 or not. So how can you check that?
We can simply divide by 2 continuously. If it is equal to 0 at last, I think it will be equal to, it can be expressed as power of 2.
Yeah, that's correct. So to check whether a number is power of 2 or not, you just keep dividing it by 2. And if the finally the number becomes 0, then it's a power of 2. If it does not become 0, and if you divide it and the remainder, basically the remainder is not 0, not the number, sorry. If the number will become 1 after, if it's a power of 2 and if you keep dividing it by 2, then finally the number will become 1, and the remainder will become 0. But if you keep dividing 3, let's say you divide 3 by 2. So first you divide 3 by 2, then the number will become 1 and the remainder will also become 1. Now the remainder is non-zero. That means it is not a power of 2. Okay, but if you divide 16 by 2, first it becomes 8, then you again divide and remainder is 0. Again divide it by I'll just write it once. Number quotient remainder. Okay, that's the algorithm basically that we are going to write. First we are going to do it for example when the input is 3. So number is 3, we divide it by 2, quotient is 1 and the remainder is 1. As soon as the remainder become 1, we can declare that this number is not a power of 2. Now for the second example, 16, we divide it by 2. So after that, the quotient becomes 8. Okay. And the remainder will be 0. Since the remainder is again 0 and the number is not yet 1, we again take the number 8 divided by 2, it becomes 4. Remainder will become 0. Then we again take 4 divided by 2, then it becomes 2. Remainder is 0. Then we take 2 divided by 2, quotient become 1, remainder becomes 0. So since now the number is 0, number becomes 1, remainder is 0, we can here declare that 16 is a power of 2. Okay. But if the remainder does not, remainder is non-zero, then we declare that it is not a power of 2. So here we have this code. What we are doing here is, this is the number n which we want to test whether it is a power of 2 or not. and then we are first storing it in some temporary that we are doing only so that we do not modify the original number. Okay, and then we have some variable flag. Basically it's just going to be used inside the while loop as a basically indicator. It's an indicator variable. It's going to indicate outside the while loop that some condition was true or not. Now first we are going to check this number n itself, as I was saying here, right? Now we are going to check the question, right? So first we check the number n itself, the temporary. The temporary is not equal to 1. If it is not equal to 1, that means we can still divide it by 2. So we go inside. If it then we have the modulo operator. So the modulo operator in C gives you the remainder, okay, after division. So you take temp modulo 2. That will give you the remainder of the temporary when you divide it by 2. So if the remainder is not equal to 0, then you set the flag equal to 1. Setting the flag equal to 1 is going to indicate that it is not a power of 2. It cannot be expressed as a power of 2. Okay, after that you just break, because you have found that it cannot be a power of 2. So there is no point in continuing, and you just break out of the loop. And after that, if the remainder were actually in fact 0, so you go ahead and you divide it by 2. So if you're finding this difficult to understand, it's okay, but like try to do this manually yourself with a couple of examples, couple of inputs, and then I think you can understand why the while loop condition is checking that the number is not equal to 1, and after that we have again checking that the remainder with 2 is not equal to 0. We continuously divide it by 2. I think that's all. Okay. Coming to this one, do you want to, should I continue?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so here this is the last question anyways. So here the question is that write a C program to print the following pyramid pattern up to nth row. Okay, and n is again a input given to you, to your program. And for example, when the value of n is 5, the pyramid will be printed as follows. So what is happening if you're given as input 5, then in the first line you print 5 stars, in the second line you're printing 4 stars, third line 3 stars. Basically every time you reduce the number of stars by 1 and keep printing. So input n is equal to 5 means there will be 5 rows, and every time you print n minus you decrement the value of n by 1 and keep printing that number of that many stars. So your program should print such a pyramid as output on the screen. For example, for 3 stars in the first row, then 2 stars, and then 1 star. Okay, I think the input and output is clear. Now you have to think about that how will you do this. First you are going to take as input in value in variable n.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. We can do it by using nested for loop. For I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, and for j is equal to and j less than n minus I by simple.
N minus I. J is equal to
j less than n minus I, less than or equal to
n minus I. Okay, Okay. Okay. J is starting from 0, right? J is starting from 0.
Yeah, we can start from 0.
Okay. Okay. So why do we need why do we need nested loop here? What suggests you to use a nested loop? I mean, I'm asking so
Because
that
we have to print it. जैसे हमको फिर न्यू लाइन पे भी जाना है और लगातार उसको प्रिंट कराना है तो हम उससे आसानी से कर सकते
Yeah, so we have to use nested loop here because we need two loops here. Why? Because one loop is to like traverse this pyramid vertically, we need,
हैं.
and second we need to traverse it horizontally. Okay, that's why we need here two. It's a two-dimensional, as you can see, this is a two-dimensional pyramid, right? It has horizontal and vertical both axes, and whenever you have anything two-dimensional, for that you'll most likely need two loops, two different loops, one for horizontal and one for vertical. Okay, because it's in two dimensions. It's like a, must not be familiar with matrices, but it's okay. So as you said, we are going to have the first loop. So in the first loop, let's say I'll just write it here only. Let's say the first loop we have for I equal to 0, I is less than capital N, I'm saying, because I'm starting from 0, I'll write capital less than capital N. Okay, so this is the loop, first loop, which is I'm going to use to traverse the pyramid vertically. Okay, it's going to go row wise. Now inside, in one row, I need another loop to print these stars. Okay, for that we are going to use another one. J is equal to 0 and J is less than N minus J is less than N minus 5. Is that G plus plus 0 1 capital N. Right, I think this may be right. Yeah, printf star, and then after this here we are going to printf \n, because after printing one row we have to get to the new line. Okay, might not be visible, so I am going to cut it and paste it here, and this is for horizontal. So first we are starting with I is equal to 0, which means the first row of the pyramid we are starting I is equal to 0. Then we check that whether 0 is less than capital N. So let's consider the case when N is equal to capital 3. Then so first I is equal to 0. Okay, and I is less than 3. So we go inside this loop. Here we are checking J, we are initializing J equal to 0. Okay, remember that whenever we come inside this for loop, the first for loop, whenever you're going inside the first for loop, you're always going to initialize the value of J again to 0. Okay, it's again getting initialized on every iteration of A. So J is equal to 0 now. Now J is less than N minus I. That's the condition we are checking. N is equal to 3. 3 minus I is 0. 3 minus 0 is 3. Now why it is N minus I? It's N minus I because on the ith row, which is when I is equal to 0, we have to print 3 times. When I is equal to 1, we have to print N minus 1 times. When I is equal to 2, we have to print N minus 2 times. Okay, because on every iteration of I, we have to print N minus I times. Okay, so we have j less than n minus I, and we increment j plus plus. So when I is equal to 0 and j is equal to 0, we are going to print our first star. Then j becomes 1. We will print in the same row another star, and then j becomes 2, and we'll print here one more star. Okay, when j becomes 2, now j becomes 2, we print, and then j will become 3. 3 is less than 3 will be false. So after that we print here a new line character. After this there will be one new line character. Now I will be incremented. Now we go here and I is incremented. Now I will become 1. Okay, now I will be checked again that 1 is less than 3 or not. That's true. So we again go back inside this and execute this for loop. So that means j is again initialized to 0. And now j will be checked against, here in this case 0 is less than 3 minus 1, because I is now 1. So 3 minus 1 is 2. So it's also true. So we go inside and print one more star. Okay, I'm going to print here star. Now when j is equal to 1, j will be incremented, j will become 1. 1 is less than again 2. It will check. It will also be true. So then it will again print one more star. After that it is going to increment j to 2. Now 2 is less than 2. It is going to check. That will be false. And then it will again go out, print \n here, and after that again increment I will become now 2. Now I will be checked. 2 is less than 3, true, and it will continue like this. Okay, this will be true. It's the last iteration I'll do anyway. Okay, so true, let's say. Then we go inside. Now j will be 0. 0 less than, it will check that whether 0 is less than 3 minus 2, which is true. So it will now go here and print star. Then j will become 1. When j becomes 1, it will become false. So that's how it is going to print. So you need you need basically you need nested loops. Here we are using 2 for loops, and the first for loop is to traverse the pyramid vertically, and then the second for loop is to print those stars in every row wise. And in the first row we are printing n, in the second row n minus 1 stars, then n minus 2 stars, and so on. And that's why we have here the condition n minus I, because the first row I is equal to 0, so prints n. Then I becomes 1, so it prints n minus 1. Then I becomes 2, it prints n minus 2, and so on. I hope that is clear. Is there any doubt? The program is similar. I think it's written in a different way, but it's okay. This works. Is there any question? Are there any questions? Okay, so if not, we can end the session here. I'll stop the recording.